Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. I hope that you all have had a wonderful, wonderful week. I am Iris Denise Owens, your host of the Autopsy of Her, Healing, Evolving, and Resiliency. And actually, it's Healing, Evolving, Resiliency. I do not add an ad in there. So anyway, I just want to welcome you all to the Autopsy of Her. And good morning, honey bunny, to my beautiful sister and co-host. Good morning.
Good morning, honey bunny. How are you?
I am wonderful, except I am literally on skates today.
I know. I feel your skating energy over here. I feel like I'm on skate. I feel like I felt yesterday. I was like,
I am on skates,
mm.
but we are going
pretty.
to. I'm sorry.
You look pretty.
Oh, well, thank you. Listen, I'm trying to prepare for Georgia weather, right? Because it's cold now, but it'll be 70 later. I just don't know what to,
That's how it's
it's
gonna
like
be. Today's be 60 and tomorrow's gonna be 70, but
yeah,
35 in the morning.
yeah. So I don't know. I'm just trying to, stay dressed. So I guess I'll wear a top of sleeves, shorts, and flip-flops. I don't know. It's just, we'll make it though.
So if you have your toes out, cover your arms. If you have your arms out, cover your toes.
Your toes. One of the two has to happen. Exactly. Well, anyway, guys, we are going to jump in, and actually we're going to jump in, but we're going to continue what we were talking about last week. And that was, what's your role in your relationship? Or, what role do you play? And so thank you all for the comments and the ask for us to continue this, continue having this conversation. Because, of course, as we were talking last week, we thought this is a very interesting conversation, very interesting topic, right? And so we're just gonna pick up where we left off from last week. And so last week we're just talking about one of the things Steph said, and I think this is something for women that sometimes we find ourselves challenged with, and that is the knowing where to put the stops on when we are in a ongoing relationship, meaning, so we met, we're dating, or we met and we've been dating. How long do we stay engaged? How long do we, be the girlfriend to someone? How long do we, decide when I'm going to, do wifey duties, right? When I'm really just the girlfriend. And
you only do wifey duties when you're the wife.
Right. And here's the thing. One thing Steph said last week, are you a wifey or are you a wife? And I'm like, well, and so
that's where we get we as women, because we're born nurturers. We like love taking care of people, taking care of things. That's 99.5% of women. And you meet someone and your instinct is like, I got to take care of this person. And you jump in there, and before you know it, even if you guys not living together, you go and you're cleaning this apartment and you're cooking dinner, you're helping him out. And it's like a lot. And not to mention, you're not his wife. And
but that's one of the things, that's one of the things we talked. There was a comment from last week where there was another group of people talking, and one of the conversations was that a young lady had posted about the fact that she was dating a gentleman, and that he was really nice, he was really smart, he appeared to be financially sound, but that his place of residence was deplorable, like, not clean, dishes in the sink, toilet seat up, urine on the floor, da 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 da. And so her thing was, do I clean up? Should I clean up for him?
Absolutely not.
And most women were like, absolutely not. I would say absolutely not, because as we say, don't start nothing you're not going to finish, right? And number one, if you're going to start in a relationship with someone, again, we tend to want to look beyond and look around and make all these projections about what this is going to be or who this person is going to be in our lives. But if my characteristics are, you walk into my home, this is my dwelling, this is where I live, and you see that it is complete chaos, it's dirty, it's nasty, it's not kept, it's not cared for, that tells you a lot about a person, right? Now, granted, if something tragic in a person's life has happened, your normalcy can totally change and be. But now, if there has not been any trauma, drama, tragedy, and this is just how you live, you don't want to be your role is not to come in.
Not to be the cleanup woman.
And be the clean.
Of no sort. Of no sort.
Of no sort, of no kind.
No sort, the cleanup woman.
Of no sort and no kind. And
no,
so I think that's really, when we talk about our roles in a relationship, we also struggle with, where do I stand? Like what shoes, what platform am I standing on?
Well, the issue with you put a pin in that right there. One of the issues that we do as women, we all of a sudden, we didn't want to be out of our shoes. We were standing firmly in our own shoes, which is where you should continue to stand, because when you should be independent, he should be independent. When you get married, you become interdependent. But we want to put those things, we want to put the cart before the horse and do all these things before that to show you that here I am and present myself as I'm a wife. But that's not presenting yourself as your wife. I know this woman, boyfriend lived in Atlanta. She would go clean his apartment. She said, because I need to know the apartment is clean when I go there. And, first he lived in New Jersey, he moved down there. So they were going back, traveling back and forth to see each other. And, and he ended up breaking up with her. And the woman he ended up with don't clean nothing. Okay. So that doesn't prove that you're a wife. It's you. I think you knowing who you are and not changing who you are, for somebody, you got to live in your truth. That's where you have to stand. You have to stand in your authenticity. You can't all of a sudden be a carnivore and hook up with a vegan and say, oh, I'm a vegan, or vice versa. It does. If you're a carnivore and that's what you be, a carnivore, but like maybe you said, oh, something I like to try, but don't lie about it or all of a sudden become that because you want to be with this person.
But how do we, but there comes a point in relationship, and I think, again, this is where roles get confused, because in everything in life, there is compromise. You have to You have to compromise, and as does the other person has to compromise. And so my thing is, how do we know when we may be over compensating and over compromising, right?
When you're upset.
When you're what?
When you're upset.
When you're upset? Well, wouldn't that depend upon what makes you upset?
Wait, excuse me?
Wouldn't that depend upon what makes you upset? Because some people are very calm-natured.
Well, it's just spirit, right? So if you're doing something for someone and inside of yourself, you don't feel good about it, then that's when it tells you, you know what I mean?
Okay.
This is like one of the celebrity couples, I guess they always did threesomes, and the wife no longer wants to do it. It's not feeling good to her. She didn't want to do it anyway, but she did it to please him. And she said, I'm tired of pleasing you because this is not who I am. I changed myself for you. And in a lot of situations, men do change themselves for women, but it's not as much as women changing themselves for men. But when your spirit doesn't feel good about whatever it is, it's like I'm not talking about simple things. I'm like, took the plate off the table. I'm talking about really some heavy things. It could be as far as religion. All of a sudden, you went to church every Sunday. This man doesn't go to church. Now you no longer go to church. Things of that nature. You know what I mean? If you like going to church and it fills your spirit, and that's something that's important to you, then you need a person that's important to too. You can't not only does he not go to church, but maybe he doesn't believe in God, but you truly believe in God. But he's the nicest person ever. He does well in life. But now you are sacrificing what you are. And that's not good. And people do that a lot, especially women, and we cannot do that. You have to stand in your own truth and know who you are. And I would say you need to be able to do that before entering a relationship, so you won't get swooned and swayed by the happiness of this relationship, and give up so much of you that once you look in the mirror, you don't even recognize yourselves. And that happens to a lot of people
I
because
would
you have to be
agree.
important
I
to
would
you.
totally agree with that. But I'm still saying, as as saying that sounds and makes all good sense in the world, right? In terms of, being true to yourself, standing your ground, standing in your shoes, standing up for yourself, but, keeping your morals and not compromising yourself for the sake of being in relationship. As I say, but the heart has no good sense.
But I
Heart
agree with
has
you.
no good sense. And so when you start to fall for someone, or you believe someone is falling for you and you are falling for one another, you believe we're falling together. A lot of times you very well may be falling, you may be in love, you may be all these things, but how do we still figure out
But we don't know.
where I'm standing? Because sometimes as women, we are accused of being aggressive. We're strong women. Some women do not like that title to be placed upon them because they see it as a negative, being a strong woman, right? And we also know that sometimes strong women are seen as angry women, as women who are overly aggressive, women who don't want to allow anybody else to shine, or whatever. There comes a lot of negative connotations sometimes with that strong woman. But if I'm a strong woman and I'm standing in my truth and I'm doing what I need to do, and I am open to relationship, where do I know, how do I know when I put the brakes on in my role that I'm in this relationship? How do I know that?
When it no longer feels good to you. That is
Okay.
really when you pay attention to your intuitions and your feelings of what's going on. It's like maybe you okay, because sometimes we go in there like gangbusters, you know what I mean? So maybe you have compromised yourself, but it doesn't feel bad to you. Oh, I decide that I want to start sleeping with him, and I go cook him breakfast. I still got my own place. I'm spending more time at his place. And then it'd be that one day that you'd be like, oh, you're like literally it just hit you like a light bulb. I can't believe I'm in this kitchen cooking breakfast. Doing this, man, he's not even my husband.
Okay, that's a perfect example. So that is the your inner self talking to yourself, saying, "Hey, hello. I
I know.
think maybe you might want to you pause
Slow
right
that
here. Let's
down.
pause right here. Let's have a conversation about what's really going on right here, right? Because I do
Yeah.
believe that is what happens. That
It is what happens.
we'll
It
be
is what
going
happens.
along like, some of us like to cook, so we will cook for a man. It's always said, or cook for our significant other. It doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
man.
But I
I
said
don't
the
want
best
to
man, the
be,
best way to
I
a
don't
man's
want to
heart
be
is to be
biased. Whomever that person is who has your heart, you're cooking for them, or you do nice things for them. You're out shopping, you pick up something that you think will look great on them, and they're not a shopper, but you start to weave this person into your
yeah,
life, right?
exactly.
But then what happens when you're weaving and you're knitting and you're doing all of this, and then a
And they're
snag
not weaving on
comes?
you. They're not with you. They're not weaving on
They're
it.
not weaving. The snag comes. And look, you know how you get a snag in your clothes and you go to pull it? Now, my grandmother and my mother would say, if you get a snag, you're supposed to pull the snag, then you tie a knot in the snag as
Exactly.
close as you can to where the snag happened, so that
Exactly.
it stays in place. I want
Exactly.
y'all to hear that. That's a
Or
serious
you can pull
thing.
it inside. You can pull it inside
Or
too.
you right, or you
Pull it
take it
inside
and pull it from
and
the
pull it out
outside with a needle or something that's sharp and pull it onto the inside, so that
and
it
not.
is now tucked in and a part of this fabric that it has been snagged from. So think of your relationship in the same way, the role that you're playing. So if a snag happens, are you able to tuck back in? Or is that person willing to tie that knot on you, in you, and help you stay, and you guys stay weave together? Or you find yourself being that snag that's hanging out on that beautiful outfit, just hanging out there. So now the outfit look crazy because you got this snag hanging out on it. I'm telling y'all, as crazy as that sounds, think about how weaving something, because the relationship is weaving. It's weaving two people's lives, two people's ideals, two people's hearts together to come together to be as one, whether you're married or not. In relationship, that's just what it is. So when that happens and you find yourself on a snag, right? Then what? What is the role that we need to take on then? Is the role to say
to thy own self be true.
Okay.
So at that point, you do have to. I would talk to my boyfriend like, this is not who I am. Because you do lose yourself when you're overly excited. I mean, it's like a child. It gets a new so excited. It's the same thing when you get a new boyfriend, new girlfriend. You're overly excited. But like maybe you just need to slow this down a little bit, and back up. I mean, I know that there are some women that started, doing the orgasm thing, was like, oh, I can't do that. Is it a hard backtrack? It's a hard backtrack because now this man is used to you sleeping with him, and now you no longer want to sleep with him. Some of the relationships survived and some of them didn't, but to thy own self be true, because if it doesn't feel good to you, then what's going to happen, whatever it may be, it may not be, maybe you want to sleep with, I don't know, whatever the situation is between that particular couple, but the resentment builds up, and resentment builds up. It's not going to ever be healthy for a relationship, because now you feel like I have compromised myself. It's not you don't feel like it's an exchange going on in this relationship, and you'll feel ways about it, and resentment will come, and that's going to doom the relationship anyway. But if you could have an honest conversation with this person and say, yeah, I'm not trying to do wifely duties, and I'm not a wife, and I'm not trying to say that, if you're that person, if you're not looking for a husband, you just got to be honest. For me, when I met my husband, I told him I was looking for a husband. And he said, I'm not ready to get married. I said, that's okay. I said, I'll just date you and a couple other people, but I'm not planning on being a notch on your belt either. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you just have to know what you want, though. That's the other thing. You have to know what's important.
But even when you know what you want, because the honesty first has to start with oneself, as you said, being true to oneself. And so when we sometimes are in relationship, the role we play, when we have seen that we have gone down a road, I think the first honest conversation has to be with ourselves. And exactly. That is saying, okay, I got to pause right here, because I've gone down this path and I'm not really sure what I'm doing right here. And I'm uncertain about how this person actually feels. And so here are a few things that, let's just say you've been hanging out with somebody. You consider yourself in relationship, okay? You all have had conversations about relationships. And I always say, even if you're not when you meet someone and that person says, I'm not looking for that, but you're willing, or you say that you're willing to still hang out with them, but you're not
friends with benefits.
Right. And well, not even friends with benefits. Sometimes you say, let's just hang out and get to know each other. Let's see where this goes. Not even sleeping together. I'm not talking about
friends with benefits. To me doesn't always mean sleeping together, but
yes,
if somebody's occupying your time,
but in our society, when someone says friends with benefits, that normally means we're satisfying one another's needs physically. So my thing is that, okay, so once you find yourself in that spot, I think we have to look if there are certain signs that will come up, i.e., just like in any other relationship, you hang out, you have fun, you have deep conversation, or you had a really good time with one another, and you go home like, man, that was great, that was awesome. And now you're sitting there going, is he gonna call? Is she gonna
Yeah,
call?
that's what you can do. You
I'm
can't
not.
wait.
I'm not calling them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call them. I'm going to wait and see. Now, I personally think maybe when we were younger, maybe that's a thing. But I, as a 57-year-old woman, if I go someplace with somebody and I've had a good time with them, I do not want to come back home looking at my phone, going, should I call them? Should I not call them? Does that make me look thirsty? Does that, I don't, if you're having these thoughts in your head about a person that you are spending time with, that may not be the right relationship. That's a red flag. And it's early on, but it's a red flag.
But the difference between men and women is that we think more about them than they think about us. So that's why the relationship in our mind moves so much faster. We are going to come home from a date and think about them and want to call them. They're not necessarily going to come home from a date and think about us. They may call us to make sure we got home safe, but it's not an ongoing thought. I know a girl. Went on a date with a basketball player. She came home and started writing her name with his late name from the first date. Like, are you mad? You know what I'm saying? And of course, nothing moved forward with that relationship. But I'm just saying that we do put a lot more thought, consistent thought. A man, like when he thinks about us, then he's on to the next thing. We could be working and thinking about them, doing this and thinking about them. They're not doing that with us.
No,
so
because women are nesters. We
exactly,
plan, and women are planners. Not even say nesters. We're planners. Women, we plan. We pretty much plan our lives from the time we have sense in our heads. We plan our lives. And so I think that's just a male female thing. And I do think that there are men who will go home and had a great date and kick his heels up and go, that was an awesome date. I really liked her. I'm gonna call her back. Da 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 da. But my point is that if we are having to spend so much time processing on the front end of meeting someone and hanging out with someone, maybe that's a place where we have to question ourselves. What role am I playing even in this process right here? Because if in fact I'm having to do that, maybe that means I need to learn how to attach and detach. Like, go on with your life, have fun. You went out on a date, you had a great time. Yeah. If you really want to send him a note, send a note. But if you are not going to send a note because you're fearful that he may not respond or she may not respond, don't put yourself through that heartache. That's heartache for somebody you haven't even established a real relationship with.
But that already goes back to knowing who you are. Like I don't call men. Even like now, I just don't call men. They call me, I'll call you back. But I just like, I mean, if it's something, but I'm not a call like that. I never was, even since I was like a kid. I really didn't do that. You know, being a teenager, having a little, I didn't do that. And still to this day, I don't do that. Having friends, I don't call men. But you have to know who you are. That's what it comes down to. Now, what I would do, I used to give cards. I was a card giver. I would give cards, and be so. Even with my husband, I would mail cards to his office, even though we were married. So I would give cards. When we were dating, give cards. I would give cards, and I got a little salty at one, like, about giving cards. Like, I'm giving a card, and they didn't give me a card. So I was like giving cards. It's so funny. I ran into this guy I used to date. He's like, I said, you used to send me those cards. They were so nice.
We're going to have a whole conversation about what you just said about I don't call men. We that's a whole nother topic that we cannot go into today, but we're going to have a conversation. This is going to be a continuation because at this point, we have to stop today because we both have crazy schedules today. Yes, I am truly on roller skates today. I'm not even joking, y'all. I love y'all, but I can't even hang out with y'all today. I can't even.
We gotta go.
Can't hang out with y'all today. But I do want y'all to consider what we have said today. And again, drop your comments. leave us some comments, share, like. We really do appreciate, because it helps us with building content. It helps us know if we are, sharing information that definitely is resonating with you and with your life and with people you know. So we want to hear your comments. We're not like, oh, that we want all of them to be good. If they're not good, then they're not good. Criticism is good. Correction is not a bad thing.
Everybody's individuals. I mean,
right. And so we just want to hear, we just definitely want you to share. But in any event, we got to go. So think about what we've talked about, share your comments, and we're going to be back next week. And next week, we will probably have an extended talk about why I don't call men. Do y'all see my face? See her over there. I don't call men. Okay. Well, never mind. Okay. But anyway,
I talk to them.
We love you guys. Again, what role does she play in the relationship? Hello. Okay. Guys, have a great weekend. I'm a wife, not a wifey. And she's a wife, not a wifey. You can't be a wife if you don't call the men. Hello.
I don't, and I've been a wife, so it works.
Steph, what's your final comments for today?
Don't call me. No, I mean, let me call you first.
What do they say in court? The jurors will please scratch that records.
and have a great weekend. Meditate. Know who you are. Write down your list of things that you will not compromise, and then everything else, I guess, you compromise.
Yeah.
And be happy. Right. Your spirit will never lie to you. That's my final word. Your spirit will never lie to you. If it feels wrong inside your spirit, guess what? It's wrong. Okay.
Well, thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy fall. Fall into fall. Fall in love. Fall in peace. Fall in wherever you need to fall. Fall in some leaves. But enjoy the weekend.
Walk into love. Don't fall into love. Walk into love.
Y'all, don't listen to her over there. I love you, honey buddy.
I love you, honey buddy, too. Have a great weekend.